In this video, I demonstrate several techniques we can use to harmonize each note of a melodic phrase. For the first few examples, I use Duke Ellington's pickup measure of In a Sentimental Mood. Of course, we can always do something like this. But let me show you what I did. This harmonization is based on a chromatic descending bass line. This is one of my all-time favorite harmonization techniques. Very effective, sounds incredible, and is super easy. So I start with the target chord. Obviously, we want to land on a D minor. And I have 7 melody notes. I just have to walk up chromatically 7 steps in order to find my starting bass note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have just assigned a bass note to each melody note in our pickup measure. The next step is to fill in the other voices. There are different methods for doing this. The most common approach pianists use is to find a chord that matches each bass note and melody note pair. So I'm going to start with A flat. Okay, so we have our bass note, we have our melody note, and now it's time to find a great sounding chord that goes with it. This comes all down to taste in the end, but in order to make your final decision, you need to know all the chords that are possible with these two notes, of course. What I usually do when I look at a bass note and a melody note, I assume that the bass note is the root note of the chord.
In this case, F is the 6th scale degree if we count A flat as degree 1. Let's consider A flat to be the root of the chord we want to create. We can complete it by adding the major 3rd C and the perfect 5th E flat. Now we have a complete A flat 6 chord. In jazz and pop, the major 6 chord is often heard as the tonic chord rather than an inversion. Another chord that fits well when the 6th degree is in the melody is the A flat 13 sus chord.
You can think of it as the polychord G flat major 7 over A flat. I prefer playing it without the 5th. It just sounds a little more jazzy to me. Now it's time to add the major 7 and the dominant 7. That's with the major 7, making it a major 7 add 13 chord. Dominant 7 add 13. Let's make it even more colorful by adding the 9. Now we can spice this up even more by adding the sharp 11. A flat 13 sharp 11. And if we really want to go crazy, we can add the flat 9 instead of the major 9. Let's listen to all of them one more time. There is one other type of chord we have not talked about yet, and that's minor chords. So here's an A flat minor major 7 add 13 chord. And here is the A flat minor 7 add 13. And then, of course, there's the fully diminished 7th chord. These are a lot of chord qualities we just covered, and I'm sure there are more. The next step is to decide on the chords for all the other note pairings, going through a similar process. And then you have to puzzle them together. Ultimately, it comes down to personal taste, which ones you choose. Here are a few more examples for my solo piano arrangement in a sentimental mood. I Got Rhythm is one of those songs that I have played a million times in stride piano style. And one day I thought, maybe I can reharmonize this thing using a chromatic descending bass line. That's the topic of this video, so I thought it might be a good idea to show you the two versions so you see where we're going with this. So here's the stride piano version. And now the version with the chromatically descending bass line. The technique I just showed you is called vertical harmonization. You look at the melody note, the bass note, and find a chord that goes with it. Now there's something else called linear harmonization, and that's what I want to show you now.
When we take the linear approach, we prioritize creating melodic lines over the harmony they produce.
The one thing all the examples in this video have in common is the chromatic descending bass line, which is the poster child of a linear approach. When you're just starting out experimenting with linear approach, I recommend prioritizing moving by step from note to note in each voice. That's a great exercise. You can still include harmonic considerations to ensure the end result sounds right to you. When the melody and bass move in contrary motion, you might want to add more voices one at a time to fill the gaps. My advice to you is to experiment as much as possible and make sure you keep all the different versions so you can compare them later. That's a great way to improve. I want to show you how easy it is to transfer my little piano arrangement to a horn section. Check it out.
In the top staff, you see our linear approach technique combined with another arranging concept called constant structure. Constant structure means that we maintain the same intervallic distance between the voices from one melody note to the next. Consequently, all voices move in parallel to each other. In this example, the first three voices in the right hand are each a perfect fourth apart from the next. The last three triads are all second inversion minor triads.
At the bottom staff, something entirely different is happening. The bass line descends chromatically to the target note D. The red notes lead chromatically to the target note F, moving in contrary motion to the bass line. That's a clear indication of a linear approach.
It's a way to take us from point A to point B without worrying too much about the harmonic context. Naturally, this can create a lot of dissonance, and not every musician appreciates it.
To me, constant structure is the easiest and most amazing tool if you want to break away from traditional harmonic concepts and want to sound fresh and exciting.
Chick Corea consistently employs the constant structure method in his compositions and improvisations. In this example, it is on full display. In the first 5 bars, the melody is based on a descending whole tone scale, with each note harmonized by a second inversion major triad. In bars 6 and 7, he moves the A-flat sus2 chord down in half steps, highlighting a chromatic bass line combined with constant structure chords.
This example is based on a song called Lamenta. It's a song I wrote about a couple in love that got separated. And to express this, in the intro, I wanted it to sound dark and dissonant. So, of course, I used constant structure to do this. So instead of this, I have now this. How did I do this? Well, I used the linear approach combined with constant structure. I started with the right hand. I used second inversion major triads. The melody is at the top. That makes it the major third. And then thought, what can I do with the left hand? Contrary motion between the melody and the bass is always a great effect. So I definitely wanted to go with that. But I also wanted to strengthen it, make it more powerful. So I added the fifth to the bass. I wanted to start with a dissonant sound. So I came up with this. That's sort of like the thought process. Before I let you go, there's one more tip I want to give you. Our chromatically descending bass line is the same as the falling fifth progression with tritone substitution chords. Let me show you.
This is the chromatically descending bass line from the In a Sentimental Mood arrangement we discussed at the start of the video. The red notes are a tritone above the bass note they replace.
The result is a falling fifth progression. Every single note of our chromatically descending bass line can be replaced with its tritone substitution note. And then we would end up on the 5 chord right before our target chord, A7. Let me show you. Happy practicing. Success.